Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for another video. Today we're talking about soft plastic rigging for saltwater. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss future uploads. This channel talks about the hows and whys of fishing, and we cover everything from ultralight, big game, everything in the middle, including fly fishing. Today we're talking about soft plastics and rigging them for saltwater. Now there are a few ways of rigging saltwater soft plastics, okay? However, I'm gonna tell you this. Towards the end of the video, I'm gonna show you some really cool tricks that I have found that are fresh out of Japan. Well, maybe not so fresh, but not a lot of people are actually using them outside of Japan, especially in saltwater. But the hooks are available, the rigs are available, and all you gotta do is really either order them online or look for them if they're available in your local tackle shops. But pretty cool stuff. Anyway, let's get down to this. 90% of the fishing that you will do with soft plastics in saltwater will have some weight to them. Although in freshwater there are a lot of presentations that actually have bare hook presentations, it's kind of limited when it comes to saltwater, but you could still use them. There are really tiny soft plastics that you use in really shallow water for smaller fish and sometimes even bigger fish in really shallow water. Sometimes I also drop this from a kayak, and they produce really well even in deep water. You have to have specialized equipment, of course, just to get them down to where the fish are. So that means really thin braid and small rods and reels, but I can assure you they work really well. Okay, so you have weedless and non-weedless presentations. Okay, so these hooks are available if you can find them, obviously online or in some tackle shops. Might be a bit specialized for some areas. Okay, but this particular one can be rigged with the same soft plastic we have here, and as you can see, it'll give you a very weedless presentation. So go like that, and then you Texas rig just as you would with a soft plastic lure. Okay, so you skin hook that, and then you'll have something that's pretty weedless. Obviously there are really tiny jig heads that you can find. Most shallow water presentations will be Texas rigged, something like this with a bottom weight. This is called a Flutter head. Okay, so it looks like that, and you rig them by poking a hole through the soft plastic like so. Take it back out, insert the head like that, and then all you have to do is just mark where the hook goes out. In this instance, you have a channel for it here in this particular soft plastic, and then you have it. You could also use it in deep water, of course. There are some instances where the fish are kind of on the surface. I've used this on mahi-mahi and it works great. Your casting distance isn't that far, but it does work when they're around the boat. This I use exclusively for shallow water fishing or in and around flats, and it does work for queens. I've caught queens on these and goldies. So yep, again, another type of weedless hook here, very lightweight, but as you can see, the weight is at the back. So there are a lot of variations that you could use. The hooks on this one is saltwater proof and it's good. This one has a bait spring, which you actually insert and twist, and then you mount the hook exactly the way you did the first one. An unweighted hook is very useful when you're fishing in and around areas where the fish are kind of spooked. Highly pressured areas like beaches. Sometimes I use a curly tail grub. Other times I use a worm. The advantage of a worm is that it's kind of longer, so bigger fish actually go after this sort of thing. If you find yourself fishing amongst smaller bait with the fish busting, you could just cut this off. This is again one of the advantages of a longer worm with a curly tail. All I do is run the hook like that. I've caught grouper near the rocks using this particular method, kind of like bass fishing, so it works. Soft plastics in the Middle East are kind of the most underutilized lures, really. There we go. So something like that without a weight, and it works really well. Now, jig heads are pretty straightforward. Now here's a trick. This one is not put on straight. How you do it is you insert through the middle, and then you twist, and you twist it so that it stays in the middle. Okay, and then you get the point of, or the nose of the soft plastic close to where the barb is, and then bend out like that, and you'll find that actually pretty straight. Okay, now if you find yourself with a bent soft plastic like that, all you have to do is take a knife, make a small incision from the front and the back, just a tad bit, and you'll see that it'll sit straight. Okay, point the curl tail, point up, point down, or even a paddle tail, upside down or right side up, really doesn't matter. Sometimes it actually gives the plastic a bit more action. So that's a really good trick to know. Jerk shads don't have their own action, and you have to really work them up and down to get the most out of them, but this is some of the most effective lures and practically one of my favorites for saltwater. You can rig them like this, or you can rig them almost like Texas style. So go down like that, push the hook up like that, and then go through the channel, and the hook point's a bit hidden. It works great just like that, but I like rigging them just straight like that. Again, the nose where the barb is, and you'll find that it'll come on straight like that. So just like this, it'll work really, really well. Curl tails are some of my favorites because they start working as soon as they hit the water, and fishing them slowly along the bottom, even if it's a sand bottom or sandy bottom, works really, really well. Again, bullet heads and round ball heads work really good. They come in packs such as these. This is a ½ ounce. They're not awfully expensive, but they're some of the most useful heads that you'll find. Easiest way for jig heads, of course, is to, or rigging soft plastics, is of course to buy a pack that shows you one rigged lure. And there are a lot of variations for soft plastics, of course. Now here's a very good example. You can see one is rigged, and then you get 3 more bodies. This is actually from the same company as this, so you can see that it's already rigged. You have an example, so you don't kind of fiddle around with how to rig them. But this is rigged with a jig head, and it has a channel such as this one right here, so it's actually very easy to rig. This is probably your best bet to see a rigged lure ready to fish, and you won't have to fiddle around knowing where the hook placement is. Now, there are different types of jig heads. You'll have heads such as these, bullet heads of course, and you'll find some like this. They're flat, and these are designed to actually wiggle. These are used for fishing the flats, and they've been around for a really long time, and they work. Okay, now here's something really interesting. This is from Owner. Okay, this is it right there. So it's called the Cultiva joint. What it is it has an offset hook with an inline eye attached to a split ring in this thing here. The head is different. It's reticulated. You can rig it with weedless. You can expose the hook like that. You can put a spinner blade here, give it more attraction. And the head, because of the shape, also kind of swims. This is something that's really not found in the US, I believe, or maybe it is, but I haven't really seen a lot of tackle shops in the US, or online tackle shops at least, selling something like this. I've used this and actually caught a really nice spangled emperor. Just dropped it down, or cast it out, let it drop down, and then slowly reeled it in with this soft plastic. So it's quite good. Now, the last one I want to show you is something that I'm going to rig, just to show you how cool this is. This is from Fish Arrow. Okay, it comes like this with a treble hook. And what I'm doing is putting a single hook there and attach it so that I can rig a soft plastic on this thing. And it's easier to rig than most of the ones we have here. I've rigged a swivel with it, and I'm gonna be rigging a jerk shad on this one. Okay, attach that, put the hook in, and you could use any sort of hook you want. I'm putting a pretty strong hook on this one right there. Okay, now you could rig it with the hook pointing down or the hook pointing up. It really depends on how you want to do things. But what it does is actually have the lure rigged pretty straight already, because you just push it straight through, just like that. Okay, and then like I said, you could either rig the hook pointing up or pointing down. And to rig it pointing down, do it like that and go down like that. As you can see, the hook is well hidden. Okay, and it swims. See, it articulates. Now if you want to rig it with the hook point up, all you have to do is go like that, see where the exit point is, put the hook there, and there we go. It's pretty easy and it's pretty cool. Now this one's pretty heavy. It's at 21 grams, but as you can see, the hook is well hidden. Okay, you can stop the hook from moving around by just inserting the hook point down there, and as you can see, when the fish grabs it, plastic just tears. This I find really cool, because I know that they're using this for fish like the cutlass, but you could modify it and really use it for several things. I'm pretty sure that this is something that you're probably gonna have to order online. Now, not too sure if this is something that's also a bit useful to the guys in the US, but one more option or two more options really won't hurt, right? Now, pretty cool stuff out of Japan. You could rig both of these with trebles. You can rig them with singles. You could rig them with, well, weedless hooks. Pretty cool system. You could actually add a spinner blade on this, and yeah, the options are just endless. You could even rig a stinger there for the back here if you're using a really big soft plastic. Please subscribe so that you'll get notified when there's a new video upload, and I will see you in the next one.